I went through some of the picture formatting options in the lesson, but let's just go through them in a little bit more detail here in the Vault. So I'm going to click on this picture and I'm going to go to picture format at the top. And one of the things you can do is you can remove a background from a picture. Now, PowerPoint has some rudimentary ways of doing this. I would always advise probably to do it in an external image editor. But if you've got an area of flat color, as on this drawing of the fish, it can work quite well. So if I click on remove background under picture format, you'll see that it adds a purple mask. And the purple bits are the bits that it's going to remove. Now you can see that it's selected it quite nicely actually, but there are some bits like the ends of the tail here and some of these fins which have been deleted. So we're going to need to keep those areas. So I'm going to click on mark areas to keep and just draw a little line on that tail there and a little line on the tail there. You haven't got to colour it in accurately, you just got to go over the areas you want to add and it kind of works it out for itself. So it's actually quite clever. It works quite well in some cases. If I click off this image, you can now see that we've got a cutout image of the fish. It doesn't work quite so well in areas where you haven't got flat colour, and in those cases I would advise you to cut out the image within something like Photoshop or Pixlr or any other image editing program. Let's take a look at some of the other image editing controls. One of the things you can do is you can add brightness and contrast to an image or take it away. So this image here looks quite dark. So if I go to picture format at the top, you can see that under corrections, I can change the brightness and the contrast. And you can make some pretty good adjustments under this section. Let's just click on brightness here, brightness of 40%, contrast 0, and that makes that picture look a lot better. As I said in the lesson, PowerPoint can be a bit confusing because you've got picture format at the top, and if you right click on the picture, you've got format picture on the right hand side, and you've got a lot of the same controls. And under the picture corrections, you'll see here that the brightness and contrast is set to 40% brightness and 0% contrast. That was the preset that we selected. But you've got more granular control here, so you can drag these handles in and out, you can type a number in here, or you can use these arrows to step up or step down the amount of brightness and contrast. I also mentioned the other effects that you can add, such as color saturation, tone, etc. And again, in the right hand panel, you've got more granular control over these. So you can change the saturation of the image from completely desaturated, i.e. black and white, and back up to ridiculously saturated. You can change the color tone of the image, the color temperature, as you can see, from very blue to very yellow. And you can apply some of the recoloring options via this menu as well. One thing that is quite useful in PowerPoint is that you can completely reset an image. So if you've made some changes to it and you don't like them, you can go up to the picture format menu, click on reset picture and size, and it will reset it to its original size and format. Also in the format picture menu on the right hand side, you've got granular control over your picture transparency as well, so you can edge that up and you can see the green background of the slide showing through that. Also, you've got numerical control over the crop. I've actually never used this because I just prefer to use the cropping tool at the top here, as you've seen in the lesson and in the other Vault video. In the effects section, you can do all the normal things like adding shadows and reflections and glows. And once again here, you've got quite granular control. So you can set the glow on the picture to, let's say, a black. And what I'm going to do to this picture is just shrink it down so we can see that more easily. Then you can change the size of that glow. You can change the transparency of the glow. And the same thing applies to all of these other options. You can add a shadow, and you've got various parameters when adding a shadow: transparency, size, blur, angle, and distance. You can add a reflection. Again, there are some presets. You might want to start off with a preset, and then you've got parameters for changing the transparency, size, blur, and distance of your reflection. You can add soft edges to your image. Again, you've got presets, but again, if you want to drag the handle in, you can see that the edge of the image becomes softer and softer as you move that up the scale. You've also got 3D format, so you can add bevels to your image to make them look 3D, and also 3D rotation. Again, there are some presets here, so let's just select a preset, but we can play about with that as much as we like. Do play around with the picture format menu at the top and the format picture menu at the right hand side, so that you can see how all of these options work. And remember, use these kind of features purposefully in your slide presentations, not just for the sake of it.